Hi everyone, so I just wanted to share a little bit about my journey with Elvis in my healing journey. So this is a 5-set CD. It's CDs from the 60s. It's a collection. I didn't have it, so I wanted to get it. And I guess for me, over the last 5 years, I have lived with people telling me that I'm sick. I have a sick mind. I suffer from anxiety. And I have never been sick, right? So I get very frightened sometimes. I always have, even as a child, there were things that frightened me. And when I get very frightened, of course, I do have some anxiety. I'm also not delusional. I don't make up things. They're not in my head. But basically, when other people go through their own fears and they don't want to tell the truth and they're protecting their own interests, then they put the blame on you and they make you to be delusional. I've been following Sophie Trudeau's journey. Many people know I supported her, and when she got COVID, I prayed for her to get well. And I see that she's come up with her own story about her own struggles in her health. So for me, I didn't really lose my health until I started working in the call center because of the pressure, and I just could not handle it. My ears ache, my throat aches, my body aches. And so I've learned how to manage it with my doctor. I do an 8-hour shift, I do a day shift. And also when you're working overnight, that also impacts your mental health because our bodies are not built for that. Some people enjoy it, I don't enjoy it. But I've done similar shifts when I was at university in South Africa. I've done shifts that ended very late at night where security guards had to walk me home and then they'd wait for me to go into the building. I've done shifts that started at 6 a.m. I've done a lot of different shifts. So I prefer having my weekends off, but I take what's available like everybody else. And Elvis's music has been a strength for me through this journey. So whether people want to believe me or not, I really don't care, because I know that when I was left to cope by myself and the message sent to me was nobody is going to come and help you, nobody is going to come and visit you, and we've told the police this as well, nobody cares. We do not have the time to visit you. We are not going to visit you. We are not going to call you. We are not going to spend time with you. We don't care if it's your 50th birthday. We are not coming. We have our own lives. So I was like, okay, fine. That's how they want it. That's how they want it. I have good friends. The music kept changing. No matter what I put on, Elvis's gospel music would come on. And it was the gospel session that he did after his practice, after his concerts, where they would go down and they would sing gospel music together. The Lighthouse, Lead Me, Guide Me, there's a few songs that they sang together. And I was like, this music keeps changing, like regardless of what I put on. So eventually, we talk to the saints, we engage the saints, we pray and we ask the saints to intercede for us. So I started doing that with Elvis, and my priest says there's nothing wrong with it. It's good, because when we die, we'll all be in that heavenly realm. And my Hindu friend Bhavna also tells me it's good, because your dad and Elvis, they're all in that heavenly realm. And you can ask them for help. You can ask them to intercede for you. And that's what I did. So the music helped me, especially the gospel music. Now I found out that a lot of his music has the solfeggio frequencies in it. So the solfeggio frequencies were started in the church, in our Catholic church. They used it for the children, to get children to heal and to get them to be calm and to get them to concentrate. So those solfeggio frequencies, which are also in Gregorian chants and they are in sacred music, are in Elvis's music. So that's a new discovery for me. But I liked it and I enjoyed it. If you look at my collection, I have a couple of records of U2. I have maybe 2 records of Phil Collins. I have my music from home, which was very different. I have a few records that are compilations of different artists I grew up with. Gloria Estefan, but the rest of it is all Elvis Presley's music. And his faith has helped me, his life has helped me, I've learned from him. So I grew up that you push back. If somebody violates your rights, your space, even if it's in business, you push back, you say no. So this is a different culture dealing with the Americans. And yes, we have some balance now, finally. But it was very, very hard for me to come into this North American culture after living in Britain. Because in Britain, women are very strong, they're very independent. We go out, we used to go out together to the pubs after work, we used to have drinks together. I worked in construction, I worked in law firms, I worked in a printing room in investment banks, and I was never told that I was the problem. Whereas in Canada, I was told that I was the problem. There was never a budget for me, there was never a permanent job for me, there was never a space for me. And I'm like, how can it be that different between England and Canada? How can it be so different culturally? They say one thing, but they do another. So anyway, I'm so grateful that I have a job now. It may not be the best paying job in the world, but until I can do what I want to do and get a position in the church, I can use my creative skills. I stopped writing my evening prayers. I've started doing them again. And I can reflect on scripture. So what really gets my goat is people who have lived in America, who've left Africa, and they complain about how hard it was. It was hard for all of us. It was harder for us who remained in Africa. We didn't have drugs. We didn't have medical care. Sometimes we went without the basics, just the basics. We didn't have coupons. Nobody said, oh, there's coupons or there's rewards or there was nothing like that for us. So it makes me really angry, and sometimes it's very hard for me to keep that anger out of my voice when I'm speaking to them, when I'm talking to them. I've come to a point where I'm like, just do your job and log off and go home. Because I don't get the support I need. Nobody goes to bat for me. Nobody says, yeah, Belinda's right. Even if they know I'm right, they rather say, oh no, yeah, I hope you get better. It's like what they did to Lady Diana. Oh no, she's suffering from, mental health issues, and the next step is to take her and leave her there until she gets well. And even Officer Summers told me that when I reported what happened at Pearson Airport. He said to me, it's your family. I said, but you told me this was going to stop. You told me that you were going to tell them to stop and that they cannot make decisions for me and they cannot have me trapped. And he just put his head down. I said to him, I'm not doing this again. And if it goes to court, if anything happens, it's on you. Because they did not ask me, they did not say, this is what we want to do, this is what we're thinking of doing. They made all the decisions and then I was informed. They didn't tell me, they spoke to Officer Summers before I met with him. They didn't tell me they were not going to bring my mother. They didn't tell me all the things that they were planning. Just like when they organize their holidays and their trips and everything, they don't tell me. Then if I do it, then the police have to be involved. I have to be tracked around the world. I'm not stupid. I know how to take a flight. I know how to travel. I know if I miss a stop, maybe I was suffering from jet lag. I know how to do it. And I don't live in fear. If I was living in fear, I would never have gotten a university degree. I would never have graduated in South Africa, where women are raped every 3 minutes, maybe shorter times now. I would never have been able to navigate that, let alone in Canada. So my mom has told me now, you just have to understand whatever you've done, it's worked for you. So keep moving forward with it. And my spiritual director has told me that. So don't listen to people who are trying to impose their views on you. I was fortunate. My doctor said you don't have to take psychiatric treatment. It's your choice. And he supported me through that. So if they want to go and get a court order and they're continuing to have me tracked, they're continuing wanting to know where I'm going, what I'm doing, my doctor is not going to support them on it, because I've held a job for almost 5 years now. Yes, I get sick. Like many people, the heat affects me. I suffer with the heat stroke. I get an upset stomach. But what really, really gets my goat is, and I pray about it, I say, God, please give me the patience to deal with the Americans and to deal with people who lived here, who have had everything provided for them, whether it's healthcare or drugs or university or school. I pray for that patience, because it gets to me. And that's one of the reasons I went back to Bono and I went back to the One campaign, because yes, I was upset when Bono went to America. I used to post messages for him saying, Bono, please come out. We need you. We need your support. We're not going to be able to do this without him, because it is him at the end of the day. It's his star power. It's his journey. It's what he's been through that led to the creation of the One campaign. It's his experiences of coming out to Africa and holding dying children in his arms that helps us to get the money. It's not really our stories. Yes, some of the ministers like it. Some of them like to read our stories. They follow us on Twitter, on Facebook, or on LinkedIn, and that helps a little bit. But at the end of the day, it's his campaign, and it's his journey that has helped us to get to where we are, that helps us to get the funding for drugs in Africa, for treatable diseases, for education, for medicine, for schooling. Because I know what it's like I had to walk to school. When I lived in Bulawayo, things were very hard for the De Silvas, but they still helped me. They didn't say, no, we're putting you on a bus and go home. It doesn't matter whether your mother wants you there or not. So I feel a sense of responsibility to help those I left behind. Not everybody does. Some people are like, I'm never going back. I've turned my back on Africa. I don't care. And that's their choice. If I had the money, I would go back. I would still visit. I would still get involved, and I would still be engaged. I do help Canada as well. I do a lot of volunteering in Canada. I volunteer in the church. I've done things with Out of the Cold. But for me, it's very, very hard. And even with my relatives, I find it very, very hard. And I've been raised to use my voice, to speak up, to talk back, to put my point of view across without legal action being taken out on me, without being summoned to the police station. And they hurt my mother when they did that. My mother was crying. But what could she do? The other people made the arrangements, the people with the money and the power. And that's why I'm being kept in this position. I've sent out thousands of applications. I don't even get one. I'll leave it in God's hands, because eventually what goes around comes around. Next time it will be their daughters in my position, and then they'll see how they like it, and their sons. We were always raised to value ourselves as women, to respect ourselves as women. We never had a problem with being women or wanting to have a sex change or wanting to have another gender. We never had those kinds of problems in Africa. So it's all a new experience to those of us who are coming here from Africa, and we're starting to understand how things work. And it's generational. The families with the connections and with it starts in school. All these people, when I was doing Primerica, the guy that used to take me out, he took me once to the hockey. He said, this is where it starts. This is where we do our networking. This is where we get the referrals. And from here we go out. So unfortunately, that's how it is. Whether we like it or not, that's how it is. And we have to learn to play the game. If you look at You look at Roger Federer, he never used to do the 2-and-2 backhand. Andy Murray does it now. He was doing it when he was on tour. They copy each other. So people replicate in the workplace too. Once you replicate, you move on from there and you go into another position. That's how it is. But nobody could copy Elvis. There have been many imposters, many people have tried, but nobody could copy him. So he's just unique. He's just somebody who, for me, I feel bad for what his dad did to him and putting those drugs in him and all that, starting all that. But he was unique. And I feel, whether other people care or not, or like it or not, I feel that it's his music and his faith that saved me. Because I did not take any drugs. I did not agree to any psychiatric care. I had my spiritual direction and I had my work. I kept myself busy and I came up. So there was nothing wrong with me. I needed a little bit of support and I needed the family to say, hey, don't worry. We'll come, we'll spend time with you. If you need to come spend some time, don't worry, we're here for you. But that didn't happen. The opposite happened. So that's fine with me. It didn't start now, it started when I was in childhood. And I used to sit and listen to my Elvis. They used to leave me at home. They used to say, we're going out. I used to say, okay, go. They weren't willing to wait for me, so I used to sit and listen to my Elvis. And then when they were ready, they used to come home. Once my grandfather died, my life changed. But that's life. You have to make the most of it. And you have to enjoy it and find things that you can nurture. I grow my plants. I listen to my music. I go swimming. I'm fortunate to live in a place where I don't have to go out and buy a gym membership. I can use the amenities here. Gym memberships are expensive. So it's not the best paying job, but it's a job. And I'm always grateful to Elvis. When I go to sleep, I always say, thank you for the music, God. Thank you, Elvis, for your music. Because it's helped me. And I hope other people find music that helps him. Not to say that I don't like U2's song or Springsteen. Yes, I listened to other artists when I was growing up. But there was no other music that helped me the way his music helped me. And the way his faith helped me. And I'm also like that now. I've read books on St. Hildegard. I've read about her crystals. I've read about her tinctures. I've read about how the diamond is the strongest gem. That's why people have it for their engagement rings. I've read about the gems in the Bible and how we can use them and the remedies that she's recommended. And I've implemented them. I say some of the prayers that are in that book that I got. And I use them to help me with my anger, to help me with my frustration. I use certain essential oils. I use bergamot, I use lavender, and I use those gems. And she tells you which gems to use and how long not to use them for too long, and how the body is made up of all the elements of the earth as well. So there are visionaries in our church that we can learn from and that we can use. And even the music, we can learn from it. So I just hope and pray that this one campaign thing works for us again, because I know for a while it went down. And it's not easy for us. It's not easy for us to write to the ministers to get the political goodwill to fight for it, because we are fighting for the most vulnerable in society. We are fighting for people who have nothing. And I know what it's like to have nothing. So I fight for them because it matters to me. And Elvis, again, he came from a background where he had nothing. He was born into a shack. So to me, it's important. And I try to do it because I know if people start coming up the same way Rhodesia started coming up, when people have something, things can get better. Now they did this whole thing of, oh, the job market is too hot, raise the interest rate, raise the interest rates. Now so many thousands of people are being let go, losing their jobs. It's a cycle in Canada. I've been here for 20 years and I've seen it. It's a cycle, which is unfortunate, but that's how they do it. And the artists give their lives. It's not like Elvis had it easy in his journey. It's not like he didn't get any criticism. They called it devil's music. It's not like Bono or Madonna or any of them didn't have clashes with the government to have those concerts. They did, but they fought for us, and they didn't have to. So the same way, I fight for others. And some days, yes, I am very angry, because it would have been nice for somebody to say, hey, we're all getting together, why don't you come? But that didn't happen. So I've learned, and I put my faith in God, and that music will always be available. I can walk into a grocery store, Elvis will come on. I used to go visit relatives. Every time I walked in, Elvis would come on. So for me, that's the connection, and that's the love, and it's helped me. That's all I can say. It's helped me, and it's helped me to take my anger and find a way to use it, so that when I hear all these complaints about what people are going through, I can say, you know what? You're doing something worthwhile with your life. It might be to other people that you're wasting it, but as long as you keep doing what you're trying to do in these tough circumstances, that's all you can do. I don't know what's going to happen to me when I retire, because I have no money. But who knows? If I die tomorrow, I might not have to worry about retirement anyway. Not that I want to be poor, not that I want to have no money in my bank account, but no one can say I didn't try. They can't fault me. I might not have done it their way. I might have remained stupid, uneducated, not gotten a master's, been willing to stay a garbage woman in Canada, and I wasn't willing to do it. So we have to make choices, and for me, Elvis is my inspiration.